Hi, Vanessa here and welcome to my channel. May is Asian Pacific Heritage Month and I wanted to share with you and showcase the books that I've been reading this month with the intention of reading books written by Asian Pacific authors. Now, normally I read books from my auto authors, titles that sound interesting, covers that I shamelessly just like. So it felt really great to go in with the intention of finding Asian Pacific authors, and spoiler alert, I love them all. So I'm going to be praising them and hoping to inspire you to pick up one of these titles. The first book I read was Miracle Creek by Angie Kim. This is her debut novel and you wouldn't even be able to tell. It was published in 2019 and recently they just came out with a paperback version in 2020. Right off the bat, I'm gonna say this title and this cover does not do this book justice. This cover looks so calming, and in contrast, inside the book is completely chaotic. When I first read the first 10 pages, I was already tensing up. You know that clammy feeling you get when you know something is about to happen? It set up the tone for the entire book. The synopsis tells us that there's a Korean family that moves to America to start a special treatment center called the hyperbaric treatment, which is supposed to support and alleviate conditions like autism, infertility, and a bunch of things in between. Okay, but we'll call it the submarine because hyperbaric chamber is hard to say. In one of the sessions, it explodes and 2 people end up dying from it. But it quickly kind of is very evident that this isn't like an accident. Somebody did this. So at large, it is a mystery. It's a whodunit book, but it's so much more than that. So yes, it's a whodunit book, but it also explored so many themes, like coming to a new country and struggling with your identity. It's about the challenges of being a parent, the raw, guilty challenges of everyday parenting with the layer of also having special needs children. It's the power struggle in between marriages. It's the challenges of just being a teenager and trying to fit in. Like, she had played in all of these different themes in this book. Now, this book is told from multiple POVs, from a Korean father, from a single mother, from a teenage daughter, and on and on. And I was just blown away by her ability to step into each of these POVs and make them so believable. That's one of the things I really loved about this book. And 2, the highlight of it for me was the courtroom scenes, okay? So I am so impressed that Kim is a previous trial lawyer and she used a lot of her expertise and threw it into the courtroom scenes to the point where we got these like charts and graphics that were thrown into the book. And most of the time I was figuring out, because I do that thing, who did it. And I was so sure, but on the cross in the courtroom scenes, I was volleying back and forth because she did such a fantastic job presenting from both sides. I thought that was definitely a highlight of the book. It was so unique from any of the other courtroom books that I have read. I was really reflective and contemplative after I had finished the book. I loved the ending. It really made me think about society's expectations of everybody, regardless of who you are, and just how tough we are on ourselves and what family means and how far we will go to protect them. We did this as a buddy read, and we were so lucky that Angie Kim joined us for the discussion afterwards, and she was able to give us little tidbits. So for example, the title was going to be Miracle Submarine instead of Miracle Creek, which I thought was pretty fun. And if you look at the cover, there's actually like little hints of what is to come into the book. And also, as I mentioned earlier about her fantastic POV writing, she did a writing technique where she did a Dear Diary, like if she was that person, how she would write about her day and what the thoughts and feelings were, and that really helped her absorb into her characters. So I thought that was really cool. I'm so excited to read more of Kim's work. She is absolutely fantastic, and I definitely recommend this read. The second book I read and listened to was The Mountains Sing by Nguyen Phan Que Mai. This is her debut novel, and just check out this cover. It is absolutely beautiful, and it is so stunning. And much like Miracle Creek, this cover is very in contrast to the story. The story is very heartbreaking. It is told in a multi-generational POV between a grandma and a granddaughter between 1930s to 1980s, and the backdrop is Vietnam. It is full of war and political challenges, and it tests this family time and time again. I was transported from my couch to Vietnam and kind of going through the journey with this family. When you read this book, go into it with an open mind. Know that there will be tragedy, there will be separation, there will be hunger, there will be hardships, there will be abuse, but also there are pockets of happiness that can be found as well. I mean, things that I really loved about this book is the vivid imagery and kind of almost lyrical way that she had written this book. It felt so beautiful, and it really painted a history that I didn't know too much about. And it made it in a way that I could understand it and really feel the hardships of the people and what they had to endure during this time. I really enjoyed the pacing of the story. It flowed so well. And one of my favorite things is that she used women as the central theme of the story about the grandmother and the granddaughter. We got two very strong women coming into age at the time when things are really hard, and it really shines through the strength that they have to have and able to endure that, to kind of quick-witted think of certain things, to move past the tragedy of everything. And I love that she had used those two characters. I would definitely recommend that you read this and listen to an audio to kind of enhance your experience, because the narrator did such a great job narrating the story. The third book I read was called Never Go Full Pie by Jeffrey Ng. It was published in 2019, and it seems like I've been to Vietnam twice this month. I am not kidding. From my couch, I was transported to Vietnam. The sights, the sounds, the smell. This book was amazing in the way that it took me somewhere just like that. This time we're with two very contrasting backpackers. We have adorable young Charlie. He is timid. This is his first time backpacking. What's holding him is his love of photography and just his coming of age trying to explore life. In contrast, we meet his newfound friend Ace, who is a seasoned backpacker, very boisterous, Mr. Know-it-all, and we kind of suspect that he's been traveling for years. Now, when I first met Charlie, I immediately was drawn to him because he is like me, where I'm a little bit shy and I'm not really sure, and I'm kind of hold myself back, kind of be the observer. So it was really great that we got Charlie in the story because he made me feel so comfortable. And when we get to talk about Ace's POV, he's the kind of guy, you want to be friends with. He knows everybody. He knows exactly what to do in every situation. So it was really fun for that duo to be together and kind of explore the streets of Vietnam. First and foremost, this book is fun. It is so fun. It draws in your emotion, and it really made me nostalgic for my youth and all the things that come along with it. Just the carefreeness of everything, the way that he had painted the backpacker lifestyle, or even the funny tidbits he threw in about the Instagram lifestyle as well. But at the heart of it, there is a lot of depth and emotion in this story. We have Charlie, who's coming of age, who's dealing with some tragedy that has happened in his life. And we have mysterious Ace, who's always living in the moment, but doesn't want to talk about his past. It's something that's really haunting to him. And as the story evolves, we kind of find out what those things are. And The other things I loved is just how much it made me want to experience travel again. It really provoked an emotion in me. And that fact that both Charlie and Ace have these hobbies that they're so passionate about really rekindled a fire in me in finding what my passion is. He just made it seem so pulling to have this passion, that kind of all-consuming one that really lights your fire. So I really love that about reading this book. And the fun component about reading it is the fact that I never knew what going full pie means. And I was waiting the whole book for it. It comes nearer to the end, and it's so worth the wait. So when you go and read this book, come back and let's have a chuckle about it. It's a really great book to pick up. I could have read about Ace and Charlie's adventures for at least 2 or 3 more books. So I'm hoping this becomes a series because I'm becoming really invested in both of these characters. I definitely recommend this read if you miss traveling, want to reminisce about your backpacking days, or if you haven't been yet, like me, and this is your way to experience it. I want to thank Jeffrey Ng and at nurse_bookie Michelle for introducing me to Never Go Full Pie and doing a buddy discussion on it. It was really fun to listen to other people's traveling experiences as well. So I'll link both of their Instagram handles below so you can go and check them out. The 4th book I read was All You Can Ever Know by Nicole Chung, which is a memoir. I had ordered it in my last video from the stay-at-home video from my local independent bookstore, Belcanto Books, and the owner, Joanna, and I decided to do a buddy read together. And the funny thing is we had set dates and discussion points when we were going to talk about certain chapters, but I wanted to cheat so bad because I couldn't put it down. It was so intriguing and so riveting that I just wanted to keep reading. There was so much to unpack, and by the time we got to discussing it, there was just a lot to discuss, and our allotted time quickly went over. So Nicole Chung bravely shares with us the story of her adoption. She was adopted right from the hospital. She is Korean and she was adopted into a Caucasian family. They were really open and loving about sharing with her about her adoption, if she had any questions, but there was really not that much to share other than saying, like, you know, your family tried to do what's best for you, and this is the decision that they had made. But as a child, you're still very curious. I mean, it's like a mythological thing. Like, who are my birth parents? What are they like? Do I have siblings? And so she takes us through this journey of from her basically childhood years to her adult years, all the questions that she had, what it was like to grow up being from a Korean descent, but growing up in a Caucasian community and never really seeing anyone like you, or so all those questions, and then her journey of finding her birth family. I was so invested in knowing if she connected with them, how it went, what's the first meeting like, what kind of questions do you ask? I mean, I only know the very surface things about adoptions. She shared a lot of us with procedures, and there are a lot about things about adoption that are very tricky and complicated to get around. Back then, I'm not sure if it is now as well, but she also weaved in a lot of emotion that comes along with something like that. It's not just, you know, we find each other, we're all happy, everything is great. You know, she was very candid in what it was like, the happy feelings and the sad feelings, the anger, the resentment. There was all of that in there. One of the things I really loved is that she included all the other aspects of her life too. It wasn't just like, this is my mission. She had a family of her own, so it really helped her question and put into perspective what it means to be a mom. What does family mean? Does it have to be by blood? There was just so much great depth to her story, and I had to stop myself from stalking her on Instagram before I finished the book. I wanted to finish it before I delved in and kind of see what her life was like now. And so I really enjoyed reading her memoir. I was so taken with it, and it made me really emotional. So I definitely recommend reading All You Can Ever Know by Nicole Chung. As you can see, I did a lot of buddy reads this month. I do have one more book that I want to read before the month is over, and it's The Body Papers by Grace Talusan. And this is also a memoir as well. We have a few more days left in May, so I'm hoping to get to it as soon as I can. If you ever want to do a buddy read, come find me on Instagram at VEEREADS_. And if you read any of these amazing books that I just had mentioned, please come back and comment below. Let me know what you think of them. I'd be happy to discuss it with you. As always, I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, and I wish you happy reading. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.